What's going on, everyone? I'm Paul LaMonica from the Low to High podcast, and in this week's episode, I interview Cornell University midfielder Billy Chabot. Billy's from Rye, New York, where he excelled on the gridiron and on the lacrosse field in high school, right beside his twin brother Peter, who plays lacrosse at Dartmouth. Billy and I had a great conversation about how lacrosse is just as much of a mental game as it is a physical game. Billy talked to me about his mentality when he's training to become a better player, how he measures his progress, and much more. We also had a long discussion about cooking. Turns out Billy knows how to chef it up as well. Make sure to go follow Billy on Instagram and Twitter at Billy_Chabot. And make sure to go follow the Low to High podcast on Twitter and Instagram to get updates in the lacrosse world and to see who future guests of the show will be. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoy the show, and let's get right into it. He could shoot on the run. He could shoot from 10 yards out. But worst of all, he'll finish it off with a nasty celebration. Billy Chabot, junior midfielder at Cornell University. Billy, what's going on, man?
What's up, Paul? Happy to be here, man.
It's my pleasure to have you on. It's Christmas a couple days ago. How's your Christmas? How was it spending time with the family?
It was good. It was good. A little different this year. Didn't see as many people as usual, but always good to see the siblings and the parents. So yeah, it was good. How about you?
It was good. It was good. Same here, small. Just only got to see my brothers and my parents, but I was just happy we're all together. I think
For sure.
everyone could say that. Was Christmas good to the Chabot? Oh, was Santa good to the Chabots this Christmas?
He was. He always is. Santa came, left some good stuff, some good lacrosse gear. No hardware, just clothing and stuff. So it was good though.
It's good. It's good. Any good food you have Christmas Eve or Christmas Day?
Yeah, Christmas Eve we did tenderloin. My mom made some big tenderloins. That was big. And then chicken parm Christmas night was good. We always do a big Christmas brunch jam, which is always good. Bagels, eggs, bacon, the whole 9 yards.
Oh, you help out in the cooking, or are you just
I do, yeah. I'm kind of the only kid who does
Okay.
actually. I enjoy it. Kind of picked it up during COVID.
What do you like cooking the most out of everything?
This is gonna sound pretty typical, but I love just cooking a steak, honestly, on the pan.
Do you what's the word for it when you like use a spoon and you like put the butter and all the other stuff?
Yeah, I do that if I have too much time on my hands, I'll do that. But normally I don't.
You put rosemary and other stuff
Yeah,
like that. and
rosemary, a
just,
little thyme, butter, garlic. No, I've done that a couple times, but I usually just go olive oil and garlic, salt, and pepper.
I think one good thing that came out of this whole pandemic is that I think one person could say at least they mastered one form of something, whatever it is. It could be cooking,
Good
learned
point.
how to play,
Yeah.
learned how to play the guitar, learned how to do a podcast, like something like that.
Yeah, there you go.
Do you think that cooking a steak is what you perfected or mastered?
Yeah, probably cooking. I picked up reading, honestly. I can say I read a book front to back before the pandemic, but it's probably because I never really was reading anything I liked, but found some books early on and it kind of just kind of came to me. I'm almost done with McConaughey's book that is pretty popular right now that I'm reading.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, reading and I wouldn't say I mastered reading, but I started it and definitely cooking. Me and my buddies at school all started cooking in the house.
Chef Billy, they're gonna call you now when you get back.
Probably not. No, there's a couple of them are pretty good. I'm still average.
Yeah, I mean, cooking's tough. Cooking is hard. It's like
Yeah.
not an easy thing to do. It's not something that is
It's
like
kind of like if you started at a young age, you're probably pretty good at it, or if your mom's a really good cook or your dad's a really good cook. My mom's great, but like, she's not a world, she doesn't love it. So it's not like
yeah.
I ever was picking it up it's like playing golf. You can't start playing golf and when you're in college, honestly, and be good. You got to start young.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely like hockey too, because you got to learn how to skate and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
true.
You know what I did find out about like cooking in general is that cooking and baking are like two completely different things.
Can't say I picked up baking. Do you bake?
I don't bake, but like my dad
Okay.
bakes, but like baking is a science. It is like
Yeah. A lot of
precise, and if
timing in that. Yeah,
a
yeah.
lot of timing, and like you have to have everything out. Everything has to be like near perfect. It's not like you make eggs or something where you could just put in like like a little bit of pepper, a little bit of salt. Like it has to be an exact
Yeah.
measurement, or it's all screwed
Yeah.
up. Like then the food doesn't, cookies, the muffins don't taste good.
I hear
So,
you.
you know,
Did you did you pick up anything or master anything besides the podcast over quarantine? Is there anything specific for you?
Uh, I think cooking breakfast, I think was something
Okay,
I
that's a start,
mastered.
man. That's a start.
Breakfast is, my favorite meal of the day. So something I love doing during quarantine and like doing now is making like my signature breakfast. So starts off with a nice sesame bagel that I
Okay,
toast,
respect.
and then I do 3 scrambled eggs. And the trick is I put cheese in the egg, so I cook it with the cheese with the
Yes.
shredded cheese.
Yep.
Shredded cheese, game changer. It's a complete game
Yep.
changer. Makes
I
the
actually
eggs
put
creamy.
cream cheese in my scrambled eggs. I don't know if I might get some
I've
heat
heard of
for that,
that.
but yeah, cream cheese is a good add. Try that tomorrow.
Okay, I think I'm gonna have to try that tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then I do hash browns. I shred a
Okay.
potato, or I'll just
You got
get
a
the
lot of carbs
frozen.
in there, bagel and hash brown.
Yeah, I don't have a lot
You
of
gotta get your
protein in that.
energy.
Yeah, that's true. But then I hit the because then like I usually get my protein like at night. I'm pretty sure like working or you do a
Yeah.
midday workout, you get your protein shake in, and then you usually like steak
Yeah.
or like some chicken for dinner. So I think going carbs in the morning is probably the best thing to do,
Yeah.
especially with
I
school going
did
on.
like a over quarantine. I did like a mini like lost wanted to lose some weight and I just didn't eat carbs after like 3 p.m. and that worked like magic. Cause like
Really?
I just yeah, I'd eat my carbs in the morning, didn't eat any after 3 and like you kind of just you go to bed not hungry, but like you don't feel full and you slowly but surely lose weight.
Was it like uncomfortable? Like
No,
going to
no, I
bed
wasn't
like
uncomfortable. I mean, I knew I wanted to do it, and it was just one of my buddies had done it, and I was talking to him. I was like, How'd you lose that weight?" And he said he just stopped eating carbs after 3, and oh, it worked.
maybe I gotta try. I mean, I don't have to lose weight, but if I ever
Oh no,
then
I'm not telling you to lose weight.
yeah,
Don't
no,
worry.
I know. But if I ever have to come to that point in my life, I might just start doing that. What are those crazy diets that are like no
Yeah,
carb? What's it
that's
called?
stupid.
Paleo. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like
paleo
there's
diet.
like the keto and the paleo. I don't buy any of that. I think if you work out hard and you eat well and you sleep well, that you can be fit. I don't believe in any of that those crazy diets.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's just you have to have everything's good in moderation. Is probably like the
Exactly. Yeah.
best motto to go with just dieting because
Yeah. Even like
no
cutting
one
out carbs after 3. Like I didn't have like people don't have to do that. It's just like worked for me. You just got to find what works for you. You know. I don't think.
Yeah, everyone's body's
Um,
different, so
exactly.
it's not like one thing's gonna work for everyone. Everyone has
Right.
different
Right.
metabolism, so it all depends on what your body's like and all that stuff. But we're not dietists, so how about we start talking a little bit about lacrosse?
Sounds good.
So Billy, let me start. Let me ask you a couple of basic questions just to get for the people to get to know you a little bit. Where are you originally from?
Yeah. So I'm from Rye, New York. Lived there my entire life. Um, Went to Rye High School, where I played football and lacrosse.
Mhm.
Um, for 4 years, I played club for prime time, which people in the area I know are familiar with. And then early on in high school, um, I wasn't that heavily recruited, committed to Colgate, but then ended up going to Cornell. But that's a different story. I'm from Rye though, still here.
Do you like seeing how Rye's doing after you graduated? Rye is now like the place to be for Section 1 sports. They
Yeah,
have.
yeah, no, Rye's doing great. I mean, Coach Lennon's done a good job, just getting guys to buy in. Um, so my freshman and sophomore year, I had Brian and Scott Dooley as my head coaches. Loved
Mhm.
them, but they decided not to coach anymore. So Coach Lennon came in and he's kind of picked up right where the Dooleys left off, and they obviously won last year, which was great to see. After my senior year, we lost in the finals. But yeah, I mean, football did really well last year. Lacrosse is doing well. It's definitely fun to see.
Yeah, for sure. And then they're winning. They won a section championship in hockey,
Hockey too,
uh,
yeah.
football, basketball.
Yep.
Football went to like the state final fours. I'm pretty sure
Yeah. Yeah.
last
It's
year.
it's
So it's
cool
pretty
like
crazy.
being it's cool when you're like like I was a sophomore in college last year and like the seniors on the football and lacrosse team were all, like freshmen and sophomore
Mhm.
studs when I was a senior. So it's cool to see them then in that role.
Yeah, for sure. So when did you first start getting into lacrosse?
Oh God. Honestly, before I can even remember, my dad and mom both played lacrosse in college. So You know, I had a lacrosse stick in my hand before I can remember, you know, first, second grade.
Were you did you first start what position did you first start playing when you were little?
Yeah, so I was always a midfielder. I faced off, played offense, played defense, kind of just did everything. I faced off all the way up until like my freshman, sophomore year in high school. So it was always midfielder, and face off.
And your brother Peter, would he was did he take the same route as you, just
Yeah,
playing the
pretty
same
much the
position?
same exact thing. Yeah, we kind of just did the whole midi and face off thing together until he kind of just continued or kind of focused more on the face off thing, and I focused more on the midi thing.
Did you guys ever have any face-offs in the middle of your living room when you guys
Yeah,
were
we
kids?
did. We had a little. Yeah, we used to face off in the basement a good amount. Yeah.
Any broken walls? Hopefully none, but
No broken
anything.
walls, but a lot of wall marks for sure. No
Yeah,
broken walls though.
that's good. That's good. Did you guys ever have to like, having that like built-in, best friend and competitive spirit right next to each other? Did you guys ever like try and compete with each other, like trying to get playing time, on the same midfield line or just trying to work together? Did you guys ever have any of that chemistry or, competitiveness with growing up?
Um, not really. Not really. Competitiveness really isn't the word because we were like best friends and brothers before we were ever like athletic competitors. You know,
Mhm.
um, like we always from a very young age trained together, just did everything together. So it was like if if one of us had a good day and the other didn't, it was more like, you know, let's both do well the next day. It was never
Yeah.
a competition. The only time I can really remember was just with the I was coming of age during the early recruiting. So when recruiting started in like eighth and ninth grade, that was the only time it would get a little weird just because, you know, if one of us was getting recruited more than the other, it was a little awkward and stuff like
Mhm.
that. But other than that, it was work together at all costs because we were ultimately playing on the same team, whether it was football or lacrosse. Um, so that built-in friendship kind of pushed both of us to just train hard together, work hard together, and compete together.
Were you guys always, when you were young, were you always like out in your backyard, like playing catch with
Yeah,
each other, going one-on-ones with each other, shooting
yeah.
around with.
It was always. I mean, even when we were tiny, we would throw football helmets on and just run into each other, just play like kill the carrier with two people. And then with lacrosse, yeah, it was always dodge on each other, shoot with each other, face off all Saturday and Sunday. We recently found actually Peter made YouTube videos of us shooting in the backyard that I didn't even know about. This was just surfaced like a week ago. They're hilarious YouTube videos. I'll have to send them to you. But yeah, no, it was all fun. We spent countless hours playing sports together for fun forever.
That's great. That's great. Did you guys ever like what was I trying to say? Did you guys ever not play on the same teams as each other, like whether it was just like during practice, like playing against each other? Was it always like a very competitive, like I know touched on this a little like earlier, but
Yeah,
was it
it
always
was
competitive?
yeah. No, I know what you mean. Like going against each other in practice and stuff like that. Honestly, it was good competition. Like if I was dodging against Peter in practice, like I was gonna go that much harder, you know, because then I can go
Mhm.
home and bust his chops a little bit. But it was never unhealthy competition. It was always like, and like if he was dodging against me, he'd go a little harder too. But no, club, we were always on the same team. Football, obviously. Um, yeah, no, that was it. I mean, we actually ski raced a lot growing up until eighth grade, and that's a very individual sport. Whereas the other sports we were playing were team. So that
Mhm.
was the only time where it was like, look, one of us was going to beat the other. It's not a team sport where
Yeah.
one wins. So that was where I think our bond and like relationship really solidified because like it didn't matter who beat the other. Like we were happy for each other no matter what. Um, so then when it got to team sports, you know, that was easy because we were competing one on one versus each other at a young age and it didn't matter. So why would being on the same team matter, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And like playing with each other all the time, did you guys know each other weaknesses? And like if Peter saw you doing something bad that like you shouldn't be doing, like if it was like a
Yeah.
bad habit, would you guys
Yeah,
call each
we'd
other
call
out
each
on
other
that?
out, even like mid game, like you know, more recent junior senior year of high school playing lacrosse. I was usually on the wing and he was taking face off, so I could kind of see what was going on. I'd talk to him if he wasn't doing well, and usually I could kind of figure out. what he was doing differently, like, small different things. And then he definitely, like, if I missed the net wide twice, he'd be like, Billy, just shoot overhand. You always shoot better overhand. It's like small stuff like that. So yeah, we definitely got to know each other's tendencies really well.
How would you say you guys played with? How would you say like you complemented each other's game? Like whether it was like playing offense together, playing defense together. How do you think
Yeah.
like you playing like with Peter's playing style and him playing with your playing style like benefited each other?
Yeah, so first was the face-offs. I mean, he was really dominant on the face-off, so I didn't even have to do too much work, but he would always tell me he didn't even really tell me. I knew where like if they were started to put a pull on him where he was going to put the ball that I could go get it. Um and then I think one thing he did a really good job of in high school was like I was more of a shooter and he didn't shoot the ball that well, but he dodged really well and he would dodge and kind of always know where I was going to be and where I wanted to be. So just things like that. Like I know you had the Embry twins on here. It's probably the same thing with them. They play well
Yeah,
together. So it's just that chemistry you build.
yeah, for sure. What was a if one of you guys had a crazy goal? What was the go-to celly for either one of you guys?
As you said in the beginning, I was a little more flamboyant when I celebrated. Peter was always just like a high five. Peter's very more laid back. He's got the long hair. He's a fogo. He's
Chill, just
yeah, he's
like
chilly. Peter
whatever
always just goes
happens,
for the high
happens.
five. He goes for like the straight arm high five. It's kind of weird. I'm doing yeah, I don't know. I haven't
I
celebrated in a
saw,
little
yeah.
while.
I was looking at your old high school highlight tape and you were just doing all this crazy stuff, like throwing the defenders sticks,
Yeah.
like dancing like with your hands in the air, just running out, just screaming at the other defenders, like crazy stuff like that. Do you ever like miss doing stuff like I don't think you can get away with that in college now. Like it's a little easier to do in high school, especially if you're playing pretty dominant. Do you ever miss like doing stuff like that?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, don't get me wrong, we still have fun celebrating, but it's different. I was also fortunate enough in high school to, have have all those opportunities and hopefully in college I will. So I'm still waiting those big celebrations hopefully, but um no, the college definitely is a little bit more. And like, obviously I would never want to get in trouble for celebrating a goal in high school and I never did, but in
Yeah.
college that's not cool. That doesn't fly.
Yeah, for sure. So, going back to like your recruiting process, why did you end up switching from Colgate to Cornell?
Yeah, so it was definitely an interesting time. Honestly, before I even decommitted, like I was kind of having second thoughts about Colgate. Um, was still planning on going there, but wasn't like as excited as I was when I committed in the months after I committed. So leading up to it, it was kind of on the back of my mind that I wanted to uh, kind of go after an Ivy, so to speak, but also go to a bigger school. Colgate's really small, and their program wasn't doing as well. And I don't know, I just didn't have like the right taste in my mouth, so to speak. So I didn't start searching anywhere. I didn't talk to any coaches, but I just kind of had this feeling. And then it was one random Sunday during football season, actually, my senior year football season. It was the Sunday of our upcoming rivalry week versus Harrison. So I wasn't even thinking about lacrosse and got a call from a Ohio number. Um, it was Coach Busick from Cornell asking me to visit. And I was like, I don't know, like I got to talk to my parents or whatever. So went and talked to my parents and they were like, my parents, like, they wanted to be really respectful of Colgate as I did too, because they were great to me in the recruiting process and I have a ton of respect for them. Um, but I ultimately decided to go on that visit. And then as soon as I went on that visit, I was like, I'm coming here. It's just what I wanted. It was an Ivy, it was a bigger school, just like such a rich lacrosse program and just the emphasis they place on being really good teammates, really good people, over anything else. It just felt right.
What do you think was like the deciding factor once you either got to your visit or like you spoke to Coach Busick, Coach Milliman, like kind of switched in your head like this wants to be my home for the next 4 years?
Yeah, honestly, that's a good question. The main thing was when I visited, I was with Connor Fletcher, he was an All American midi for us,
Mhm.
but he was a sophomore at the time. Yeah, he was a sophomore. I was a senior in high school, and he took me We just hung out at the house for a while with the other kids in his class, and it just like hit me how close these guys were. Like they were so close, like best friends, making fun of each other, loving each other. Like whether it was a senior and a freshman or a sophomore and a freshman, like whatever it was like. And then I went in the locker room and saw that whole dynamic, and just they just seemed so happy to be there and be with each other. And me as a pretty people, I like relationships. That just hit me, man. It was like these guys love each other. They love being here. Everyone seems happy. Like it really didn't even have that much to do with lacrosse or the school. Like if I had to say there was one deciding factor, it was that just how close and bonded all those guys were.
Yeah, just having relationship, like just having that close relationship that doesn't have to do with lacrosse, doesn't have to do with school, just like, like you said, being a people person, just like being with each other, you think is like sort of
Yeah,
say is like what it really was.
yeah, just that idea like of just that brotherhood of
Hmm.
Cornell lacrosse. It I noticed it right away. A lot of other guys on my team would say the same thing, and it's I'm a junior now. I'd say it's only better than I even imagined. It's that's definitely what drew me to Cornell.
Yeah, for sure. So kind of going back to your playing style, you're a big like shoot on the run guy, step down shot. When you were young, who'd you want to try and emulate your game after, like professional players or college players that you watched growing up?
Yeah, so I always uh when I had an older cousin who went to Duke, girl cousin, and she dated Ned Crotty for 4 years when she was at Duke, and so I got to know Ned pretty well, and like I was young, when Ned was in college, so I was like little like backwards hat, black sixth grade laxer, and like Ned Crotty was there all summer, and so like I just kind of took to him big time. Watched all of his games, followed him, all that. So I'd say Ned. I mean, he was an attackman in college, but he plays more midi now. He shoots the ball well, he does everything well. But I always just kind of followed him because of that. But yeah, I'd say Ned. But there's a ton of other guys. I mean, watching Rabel at a young age, like guy can shoot the ball.
Mhm.
Yeah, probably Ned though.
So I always ask, like, always, everyone always talks about like some guy they were always like, if you got your hands on a laptop at school, you're doing a school project. What's the first highlight tape that you're throwing in YouTube when you're in fifth block social studies class and you're with your boys? What's the first highlight tape you're putting on?
Oh God. Honestly, it's probably one of my best friends at school, Billy Coyle. He's a midfield. He's a starting midfielder for us, and he's got a hilarious senior year highlight tape. When he was at the or PG year when he was at the Hill Academy 2 years ago. That's a pretty sweet highlight tape. John Lombardi actually is up there too. His senior year at Salisbury, he's got black eye.
Got it
What's it
all
called?
like going down
Yeah, eye
here
black all over
everywhere. I
his
see it. It's
face.
crazy.
Yeah,
He's like jumping up and down. He's crazy.
he's doing backhanders across the crease. So it's probably Coyle or JJ. Those guys got those guys got good highlight reels.
I want to see JJ is just flying around in his highlight tape. He's going
Yeah.
against like 6'4", 6'5" Wilson
Yeah,
Stevenson who's at
and he's
Duke right
talking
now.
to him the whole
And
time. He's
he's like
talking
yelling
crap.
he's looking up because Wilson's like 6'5" and he's like, how tall is Jay? He's like 5'8", five
Yeah,
nine.
5'7" probably. Five. Yeah,
And
he's
he's just
short.
screaming in their face. He's just screaming in their face. And when he was in the All American game, he's just like,
Yeah.
let's go, let's go.
Did you
Go
see the
crazy.
video of JJ hitting Wilson?
Yeah, I saw
Yeah,
that.
I think he like broke his
Nuts.
jaw or something. It's
Yeah, it
nuts.
was
I
bad.
know both of them too, and talked to both of them after it. And I didn't get they don't really talk about it much, but um, whatever. They're both all right. Wilson's all right. So
Big beef, big. It was like what was it? He went to Salisbury, right? And there was like a
yeah,
big
JJ went to Salisbury and yeah, Wilson went to
Wilson goes to
Brunswick.
Brunswick.
Yeah,
That was a crazy game. 2018. Talk about that was just a peak point of
was
high
that the
school.
game that was that oh no, that was the Hill. I was gonna say the Foggy game, but that was versus the Hill.
The Hill game was also a nuts game
Yeah,
with
yeah. Because
what's
I had
his
a
name?
couple buddies on
Yeah.
that Hill team, so I was watching that. What highlight tape are you throwing on?
Highlight. I gotta go. Maybe Tahoka or Chris Walker. Have you seen Chris Walker's highlight tape?
I
It's like
haven't, no.
so it's got like 200,000 views, and it's just him throwing these crazy like behind the back
Oh,
overhead.
yo, Dan Shea.
Dan Shea, that's another
Dan
crazy one that
Shea.
my
Dan
boy
Shea
showed me
is
once.
awesome.
And
Uh,
Sam Romano. Sam Romano was another one that
I've
we
seen that,
always
yeah.
used to throw on. There's so many
Honestly,
like
Perry's too. I haven't seen it in a while, but I used to watch Perry's in high school.
we used to throw yours on
Um,
a couple of times in like my sophomore year. We used to put yours on
appreciate
because
that.
I was scrolling through, I must have been scrolling through Twitter or something, and like yours popped up. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna watch this. And I just saw you, and you're just doing these crazy celebrations. You're like throwing, run around the field, just throwing these crazy celebrations. Like, yo, guys, you gotta watch this kid. This kid's crazy. He's going to
Have you
Cornell. Like,
seen have you seen Connor Kurt's celebration?
yeah, which isn't it
He
like
does
does he? Yeah,
with his arms.
the
Yeah,
dogs, like the dogs. Crazy.
yeah,
There's
his
some.
younger brother CJ is on our team, so we threw that on one night and we were laughing. CJ's got a really good highlight reel too. He's really good.
I think lacrosse highlights have to be because because lacrosse is so much faster than football or hockey. Hockey, you can't really see the puck. I think lacrosse highlights have to be top three
Yeah,
sports
no,
highlights.
they are. I completely agree with
Basketball
that. Plus,
maybe
like
number
every
one.
football highlight reel is like the same. Like
Mhm.
everyone's running by someone, and yeah, I'd
It's
agree
also
with that. That's
goes
a good
super
point.
goes super slow because if you have the huddle circles on, because when
Oh,
like
the
it's
worst.
going through the play and then it like circles in on the guy and then you wait like
Yeah,
2 seconds and then it's like, oh, he gets like a 10-yard run. Oh, that's cool.
exactly.
But
Yeah,
lacrosse is always going to be something different because no two people have the same style of play. Even though, like you said, you used to watch Ned Karate, like as much as you wanted to play like Ned Karate, you still work at it because Ned Karate always had these different ticks in him or these different ways that he
right.
would see the field because, no two people also see the field. So, there's always something different in each lacrosse player. So, watching two different very good lacrosse players, they're always going to do something different, whether it's, a 15-yard step down shot or, Ryder Garnsey comes around the cage with
Yeah,
one hand and just flies in. I think it's just so creative because lacrosse is the most creative sport, I think,
yeah,
out of
totally. I
all
mean,
of them.
compare like Lyle Thompson or Connor Fields to Sergio Perkovic.
Two
It's
completely
just
different
yeah,
players.
they're both extremely effective.
Yeah, they're both amazing like
Yeah,
lacrosse players, but they just both have completely different styles of play. And another thing about lacrosse is that you don't have to be 6'4", 225 to play
right.
lacrosse. You could be, JJ who's 5'7", who's also
Yeah,
like very stocky, or like a Ryder Garnsey who's also like 5'8", and you could still just completely dominate the field. What's his name that was
exactly.
on? Yeah, what was his name that was on Yale?
Joey Sessa.
Joey Sesa, who was
I
like
mean, Matt Licciardi plays for us. He's like, do you know? No, he's number 13 on our team,
yeah,
second line
I
mid.
know.
He's like 5'5", maybe 150. He's tiny, but he can draw slides. So
And I think that's what's the coolest part about lacrosse. It's just stuff like that. It's just creativity, and then you don't have to be the biggest guy on the field to change the entire game, which is
hmm
so unique in all sports. I was talking to Jules Henningberg about how in football, like you have to be a certain height to play defensive tackle, or like you have to be a certain weight to
yeah,
play defensive end. There's no like size. Maybe besides defender, you have to be
any
at
size
least
fits all.
any size fits all. That's
Yeah,
exactly what that's like. You're 100% right about that. And so, I think that's what separates lacrosse from every other sport.
yeah, I agree with that.
So, moving on from that, when did you decide that you wanted to, like, when you were a kid, that you wanted to go play Division I lacrosse?
Yeah, that's a good question. Honestly, I knew I wanted to play a sport, as for as long as I
Mhm.
could. I wanted to be like an NFL football player at one point. Um, and then I think really what did it for me is honestly part of it was seeing Ned when he was in college. Kind of like just loving that. But I think the biggest thing, like deciding that I wanted to play college lacrosse, was going to my first Final Four. Um, it was 20. Oh God, I should know this. Duke won it. I think it was 2013.
2014, was it Notre Dame or is it
Yeah, 2014.
2014
So
with
like,
Deemer and Miles, all
maybe
those guys?
even later than some people, but it was that first Final Four where I was like, I think I really want. And unfortunately at that age, I was when like recruiting was like about to be starting. So it was that first Final Four. I remember I went with my dad and my twin brother, and we watched. I remember leaving, just thinking to myself like, man, I want to do everything I can to like play on that field one day. So it was that Final Four where I really was like, I want to do this.
What steps, besides playing club lacrosse, besides playing for your high school, what were you doing by yourself or like with your brother to help make sure that you were trying to achieve your goal to go play Division One lacrosse?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think like honestly, this goes for being a good high school player to getting recruited to uh, finding playing time in college. I think the biggest thing for me is in terms of what I did to play in college was not focusing on getting an offer or focusing on committing or focusing on who's committing where, but just focusing on what I could control. Like what is my next workout going to be? What is my next wall ball routine going to be? What's my next meal going to be? Um,
Mhm.
Not what emails did I get today? Who might call me tomorrow? Like controlling what I could control um, is what I found really worked for me because it's so easy to get caught up in all that. Um, so, in terms of playing to college, I knew I had to get bigger, faster, stronger. So I played football in the fall, lacrosse in the spring. So wintertime is always, 3-4 days of weightlifting and running and stuff like that. So there was that. Um, Tried to keep in the stick of my hand as much as possible as well. But in the wintertime, I always really focused on strength and speed and was able to get more of that throughout my high school winters, which I think helped me a lot come springtime, and then ultimately summertime for recruiting. But more than anything, it's mentality, just focusing on what you're going to do that day to get better as opposed to, you know, where am I going to go play college lacrosse?
Your mentality, like whether it's working out, was it just like get better, just get better today, just make every day
Yeah.
better than it was the day before?
Yeah, pretty much. Like I still try and do this, like, before you go to bed, just ask yourself if you're better today than you were yesterday. It's easy to compare yourself to other people, compare yourself to uh to anyone who's having a ton of success. But if you compare yourself to who you were yesterday, that's just always kind of a thing I've lived with. And I don't know, I think it's pretty helpful. I kind of learned at a young age from my dad, kind of taught me that mentality, and it's just stuck with me.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So, going, moving forward after you graduate high school, you headed to your first year at Cornell. What was it like going to that first fall ball practice?
Oh, yeah, man. Crazy. It seems so long ago now. It's kind of funny. Um, it goes by so fast. I mean, people tell you when you're a freshman, like, goes by fast, and you're like, oh yeah, I've heard that, but it really does. First fall ball practice. Well, actually, this is a funny story. So you probably don't even know this. So I get to school my freshman fall. I hadn't taken a face off probably since freshman year of high school, but we have three face off guys on the roster, not including myself, and two of them are hurt out for the fall with surgeries. So like my first meeting with coach, like the first week at school, he was like, Billy, I need you to take face-offs this fall. Like we can't go the whole fall with one face-off guy, and I know you've done it in the past. So, me freshman fall, you got to do what coach says. So I literally took face-offs all fall and like relearned it and did that all fall, which I mean I'm not gonna sit here and say it was fun. It taught me how to be a good teammate and how to put the team before yourself though. Um, and so I did that all fall, and luckily we got back in the spring. But going into my first fall ball practice, honestly, I was like, "What? I'm going to take face-offs? What?" So that's kind of what was going through my mind to answer your question.
So you must have called your parents and said, I'm taking face offs this fall, and then they must have thought, wait, I thought I called Billy, not Peter. Why is he
Yeah,
why is he
yeah.
taking face offs? So
No, pretty much. I mean, I
did you,
actually
yeah.
called Peter right after my meeting with coach. I was like, Pete, like, looks like we're going to be doing face-offs over Thanksgiving break because I'm taking face-offs all fall. He was like, no, you're kidding. Um, but no, seriously, I mean, there's a lesson to be learned with that. Like I said, just whatever it is, you just got to work at it each day and eventually you get better at it. But I took the face off thing and ran with it. I kind of enjoyed it. You know, our offense was absolutely loaded my freshman year. Um, no freshmen were going to get time on the offensive end anyway. So I was fine just finding a role for myself. But then come springtime, uh, I was done with the face-off thing because our guys were healthy and we had enough guys to practice and whatnot. And I kind of bounced back between offense and defensive midi my freshman spring, and I'm OB fully now, but definitely played a few different positions my freshman year.
Did you take faceoffs during the fall wall scrimmages?
Yeah, we had we don't do that many fall ball scrimmages. We scrimmaged Maryland. We scrimmaged uh who else? RIT? No. We scrimmaged Maryland and two D3 teams. I didn't play versus Maryland, and I played versus the two D3 teams. Because Maryland, who did they? They had Henningsen
Shockey.
and Shockey at the time, and they were smoking our starters, so we just put a poll on them. I was the freshman face, so I wasn't getting in.
It's all right. It's all right. We win some, we lose some. So,
Exactly.
uh, what did you learn? Like, even though you said like you didn't get a lot of time your freshman year, what were some aspects of the game of lacrosse that you learned? Just like watching, guys like Jeff Teat and all the
Yeah.
other offensive starters play that you didn't know about when you first stepped on campus.
Yeah, I mean, in high school, as you kind of alluded to, like I was more of the, take the ball, dodge, and shoot it yourself kind of player. Um, and that's just like not efficient offense, really. That's what I learned. It's like the best way to play offense is to find the most efficient shot and play as selfless as possible. And that's what we do at Cornell. Like, it doesn't matter who scores, who gets the assist. Like, when you get the ball moving so fast, the defense doesn't even know where the ball is, you're going to score. And so taking a 12-yard shot on the run, even a 10-yard shot on the run, isn't as good as 5 yards in front of the crease
Hmm.
um, with a feed from Jeff, So
Yeah.
I learned basically that to not just go dodge and shoot, to dodge and move it and then draw, to just keep doing that until you find a wide open shot. And that's part of why Cornell, our offense has been like some of the highest scoring offense in the last 3-4 years, just because we just kind of live by that mentality.
Were you a little stunned when you first like saw first college practice, like seeing how fast the ball moved and stuff like that?
Yeah, I wouldn't say stunned. It's more just like you're just trying to keep up. You're so in the moment. You're just trying to keep up. Yeah, I mean, like my freshman year, Jake McCulloch was an All American midi, and we had Fletch, Jeff, John Piatelli, Clark Peterson. Those guys, they'd been 3 year starters at that point, so they moved the rock to each other like Peter and I did in high school. It was music. So just seeing that chemistry they had, me and the other freshman guys would get back to the townhouse. Just
Hmm.
hope one day we get that.
You see Clark in the PLL this past summer. He was the starting ex attackman for the Redwoods this year.
He just got an extension, I think,
Yeah.
with Halifax too. Yeah, I mean, Clark is one of the most underappreciated players out there, in my opinion.
He's
There's
fast.
not
He's
many,
very fast.
yeah, there's not many guys who can do what he does. He finishes every ball. He picks up gritty ground balls. He's a great teammate, ultimate teammate. So he does a lot of good things.
Yeah, for sure. So after that, after your freshman season ended, what were you like when you headed back home? What were you trying to work on as a lacrosse player to prepare for your following season?
Yeah, so a couple different things. One, um, one was just like the mental game, kind of like what I talked about with mentality. I think freshman year, I got a little bit away from what had made me successful in high school about just focusing on one day at a time, control what you can control, because it's easy to lose sight of those things when you're not playing and you know just things aren't going your way, which happens. So getting that mentality back over the summer was huge for me. That was kind of the first thing I said to myself. It was like, I got to go back to what made me successful in the first place, just being selfless, being a great teammate, but also just focusing on getting better each day and nothing else, no outcome, only the journey to the outcome. um, so I did that, and I came back sophomore year. I had a really good fall, um, and yeah, I ultimately became a guy that was competing for time. I got to play in a couple games, obviously the season was cut short, but I think honestly, there's no like I worked on my left hand or I did work on my left hand, but it was more just the mentality than anything. It was, we preach at Cornell, be the best teammate you can be. It was focus on the other guys, don't focus on yourself. And that one, and then two, just going back to be better than you were yesterday, and don't focus on when you're going to play. Focus on what your next workout is and how many wall balls you're going to get in today. And it sounds cliche, but I really think it's true that once your mentality shifts, your play shifts.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's a great explanation because you always hear like nothing against the other guys, but you always hear, yeah, I worked on my left hand. That's a great way to look at it. Just for anyone. Would you say like if you had to tell like a kid that was aspiring to play college lacrosse, like would you tell him that exact same thing?
Yeah, a Rye High School kid texted me the other day. Just he was a little discouraged from like recruiting stuff, wasn't getting many looks, and I literally just told him exactly what I've been talking about, just that mentality. He said, he was asking what he should do and what you did to get better in high school, and you know, besides lift weights, that's all I said. I just talked about the mentality of being better than you were yesterday and not focusing on the outcome and only focusing on what you are going to do that exact day. And you got to learn to love the and appreciate working for the outcome more than achieving the outcome in anything. Um, so I'm in a state now where I'm praying that we have a season. But it's so easy to get when you're in college. It's so first line, second line. Am I gonna play? No, just when's the next workout? That's
Yeah,
what you
for
got to
sure.
think.
So, you touched on it just now. I'll go right to it. 2020 season got canceled.
Yeah,
Luckily some of your guys were able to stay back. Teat was able to stay for another year. I'm pretty sure a couple other guys did. But
yeah,
you guys did lose your head coach, Coach Milliman. He went over to Hopkins, but you still got a guy, Coach Busick, who was the assistant coach, is now staying with you guys. How was Coach Busick trying to keep your team together during this whole crazy time of you guys not playing lacrosse in March and hopefully like potentially not hope potentially may not even have a season.
yeah,
How is Coach Busick trying to keep you guys together through this time where like you're almost being like put apart?
yeah. Great question. I mean, Coach Busick and Coach Stevens, and Coach Safari, we have an amazing staff. And I think we're in a unique spot too because Coach Busick and Stevens, they played at Cornell recently. They were 2015 grads, so they really get it. Um, so when we were there this fall, fortunately, we were the only Ivy League team to be able to practice and lift and do that stuff. So one thing he did is he really just like made sure we were appreciative of just the ability to be out there and be together. Because just appreciating that brings us closer. Um, and then so this fall he just told us to be grateful that we're out here, whether it's snowing, it's freezing cold on a Monday morning and we're running, just appreciate everything because we're not guaranteed any games as we learned last year. So he brought us together through that, and then into the break, he really just we have team Zooms, team meetings. Our staff does everything possible they can to keep us together, but our team is at our best when we're internally motivated from teammate to teammate rather than coach to teammate, and we have that. But the coaching staff does a lot, and they keep us together, and they get it too because they're so young. They get it.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't know you guys got to practice. You guys got were you got yeah, you were the only team that got
Yeah,
to
we got like 6 or 7 weeks of work in. We got it was like different. It was like small groups of 10, no contact or anything. So it was like offense was practicing with offense, defense with defense. And then we were able to get in the weight room for a little while. So not typical, but definitely better than nothing because most Ivy League schools couldn't do anything.
nothing. Got zip.
Yeah,
So you guys
I know.
you guys are lucky. You guys are
And
very
then and
lucky.
then in terms of moving forward, to answer the second part of your question, how he's keeping us together with that, it's kind of similar to what I said. Like you got to control what you can control. Like you got to plan and believe that you're going to be having a season, as I do, uh, in order to wake up every day and work. So it's just controlling that, and we do think we're going to be fortunate enough to play no matter what capacity. So we're going to be ready because it's so disappointing what happened last year. We were doing well, and we just want to get back there.
And, transitioning to that, what are you most looking forward to in the hopeful 2021 season?
Yeah, I mean, first off, I'm most hopeful for just getting all of my teammates and best friends back in a locker room together because we haven't had that. We weren't able to really like go out this fall, hang out together, be in the locker room together, do anything together. So that's the first thing, as I've alluded to before, is just being back in the locker room with everyone. It means so much to us as a team, and being teammates. So that's one. And then two is, I mean, there's nothing like game day. Like the first game day, I'm definitely looking forward to slipping the jersey on, team meals and all that jazz. Just that first game day, I think of 2021 is going to be electric.
Yeah, definitely. College lacrosse is going to be a crazy first day of college lacrosse
Yeah,
for
man.
everyone is going to
The
be
podcast is going to be ripping the first week of
it's
Lax. I can't
oh my
wait.
God. I can't I'm you're getting me nervous. You're getting me so excited right now. Don't do that to me. It's gonna be a great day for lacrosse when that day
For
comes.
sure.
And I'm pretty sure I don't want to jinx anything, knock on wood, but I am very excited for that day. So my
Yeah,
last question,
absolutely.
yeah. So for my last question for you today is the low to high question. It's a two-part question. So to incorporate the name of the podcast, low to high, I'm going to ask you two parts, a two-part question. So number one, what have been some of your lows while playing lacrosse? It could be a missed pass, bad game you lost, bad moment on the field. What do you think that would be for you?
Uh, Honestly, it was probably losing section championship my senior year. That sucked in overtime. We had a big lead and we lost. Um, Definitely learned from the experience and everything, and uh, still loved everything about high school lacrosse, but that really sucked.
Yeah. And, going right off of that, what have been some of your highs while playing lacrosse? Could be a crazy goal you had, cool celebration, huge win. What's that for you?
High was probably High was breaking two sticks versus High Point this year. That was pretty fun.
Wait, can I hear a little bit about this?
Yeah, I got in versus we were playing High Point. Was that our last? No, it wasn't our last game. It was like our third game maybe of the season, and I took two dodges and broke two sticks. So that was probably my high. It was 2 for 2 on broken
Two
sticks.
for two. Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Two sticks?
two
How'd you do it? Was it
sticks.
just with your body? You just like,
Yeah,
wow.
just ran.
Billy, thank you for coming on the Low to High podcast. This was a great time talking with you. We touched a lot of stuff, from like playing college lacrosse, like the mentality you need to play, everything about that. Really appreciate you coming on. Wish you a happy new year for this 2021. Looking forward to seeing you play in this hopeful 2021 season as well.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. It was a pleasure being on here, and hopefully the next time we talk, it's about a Cornell lacrosse game.
Cornell lacrosse game, win the national championship, maybe.
Yep, hopefully.
Hopefully. All right. Thanks, Billy. Have a good day.
See you, man.